on Grady Newsource at 5. Election Day is tomorrow. Find out what's on the ballot and what you need to know if you plan on voting in person. Find out how the UGA Police Department will use funds to improve campus safety.
Towards our safety as far as implementing more security. I don't see that as being a bad thing in any way.
Yeah. And why participating in No Shave November is a good way to contribute to a worthy cause. All this and more coming up on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, I'm Allison Casso. Thank you for joining me for Grady Newsource. Tomorrow is Election Day. We have team coverage of the upcoming vote in Northeast Georgia. Grady Newsource reporters will tell you how to prepare for the vote, some of the issues and candidates on the ballot. First, Samantha Spinacci joins us from the studio with a look at the new Georgia election law. Hi Samantha, how will the new Georgia voting law impact voters?
Hi Allison. The new Georgia voting law had the biggest impact on absentee ballot voting and early election voting. This year, you may have noticed that there was a longer period of time for early voting and a shorter amount of time to request absentee ballots. If you are voting by absentee ballot, you can no longer mail in your ballot. You must drop your ballot off at your county's Board of Elections office before 7 p.m. tomorrow. One change you will experience with dropping off your ballot is that ballot drop boxes are now inside of the Board of Elections office and can only be accessed during office hours. Allison, another change voters will experience is that volunteers will not be able to hand out water or food while voters are waiting in line. If volunteers do, they could face misdemeanor charges.
If voters are voting in person, where can they vote?
Those casting ballots can visit their county's election website to see the list of polling locations. To be in compliance with Georgia voting law, voters need to go to their registered polling place. This can be found by going to the Georgia voting website here. If you do not go to your registered polling place, there could be delays such as not being able to cast your ballot. If you are not able to go to your registered polling place, you will have to request a provisional ballot at the location you are at and sign a statement on why you cannot attend your correct polling location. Back to you, Allison.
What things should voters bring to the polls?
Polling places will be open tomorrow in all counties from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Voters should bring valid photo IDs such as driver's license, passports, or voter ID cards. If voters experience any problems while voting, there is now a voting hotline number which can be called at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. Back to you, Allison.
Thank you, Samantha. Barrow County residents have a special election on their ballot tomorrow, as well as city council elections in select cities. Shaylin Carroll has more on what will be on tomorrow's ballot in Barrow.
Tomorrow, Barrow County residents will be voting on a special purpose local option sales tax, or SPLOST, proposal for the county, as well as city council seats in 3 of Barrow's 6 cities. The cities that will be voting for city council seats are Auburn, Statham, and the county seat, Winder. There are 2 seats up for grabs in Auburn and 3 seats in both Statham and Winder. During early voting, 982 in-person votes were counted. There have also been 54 absentee ballots returned and accepted. Shaylin Carroll, Grady Newsource.
As Shaylin mentioned, Barrow County residents will vote tomorrow on a 1% countywide sales tax to fund local projects. Grady Newsource reporter Alexis Elmore joins us live from the election office. Alexis, can you tell us more on how that spare penny can support the county?
Hi, I'm here at the Barrow County's elections office, just one of 8 polling locations in the county where the vote will happen tomorrow. Here's a look at what this 1% sales tax will be going towards in the county. Barrow County residents will have the option to vote for a new special purpose local option sales tax proposal for the county. This SPLOST will last for 6 years and raise an estimated $120,800,000 dispersed throughout the county's 6 cities. Every cent collected will go towards projects that will bring upgrades to 5 specific areas in the county: Parks and Recreation, Jail and Justice Center expansion, water and sewer systems, roadwork projects, and public safety and emergency services.
All of these projects are necessary. None of them are frivolous.
Thomas Jennings, president and CEO of the Barrow County Chamber of Commerce, says the tax is collected when purchasing goods and services in Barrow County, which means residents are not the only ones paying.
Someone buys something, they pay that extra penny for the sales tax. And what ends up happening is that not only are Barrow County residents paying that sales tax, but anybody that comes into Barrow County from other communities also helps pay for that sales tax.
Jennings says that projects like these are an opportunity to solve issues as the population in the county continues to rise. Sally Brown, a resident of Barrow County for 30 years, is voting yes because of the money the county raises from outside commuters, leaving less burden on local taxpayers.
What's great is, so much of the money generated by Splosh are from people that don't live here, that drive through and stop and buy gas. And you get this new stuff, and it's like, man, this is the way to go.
This SPLOST will begin its 6-year run in 2023 to raise money for specific projects within the counties of Barrow. For Grady Newsource, I'm Alexis Elmore.
Oconee County voters will head to the polls to vote on mayoral candidates and the proposed T-spot. Here is Grady Newsource reporter Sam Perez with more on how people feel.
Oconee County residents are set to vote on the Transportation Local Option Sales Tax, or T-splost, which is a sales tax of up to 1% used exclusively for funding transportation purposes. Mayoral candidate Brian Broderick says the T-splost is important to the community because a lot of people come into town to shop.
From Clarke, from Madison, from Oglethorpe.
As of now, Broderick says they're not paying for the infrastructure they're using in Oconee County. Implementing the sales tax could help relieve some of the financial burden from Oconee residents. He thinks the county should
roll back the property tax millage rate and use some of the sales tax revenue to pay for the transportation infrastructure, the road repaving, and all the other things we need to do. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Oconee County resident Major Frederick Charles Ailk uses non-motorized trails in places like Veterans Park to walk his dog Gypsy. Ailk says money specifically allocated for transportation issues and creating more trails is important.
A small tax to maintain what we want on roads and trails, that's great. I'm all for it. We're for it, aren't we? That's right.
On the other hand, mayoral candidate Rebecca Billings says she does not support the T-splost.
I'm not voting for that. I think there's plenty of taxes as it is. Less government, smaller government is better. And I think that's overall in all areas, levels of government. So we'll have to see what happens with that first before I see what happens next.
Billings says she would instead focus on a transportation survey of the truck bypass, which has already been approved. She also hopes to have police issue more speeding tickets and install speed bumps in residential areas. Oconee County resident Julie Mock agrees. She says the timing isn't right with the current state of the economy.
I think that there are more pressing issues. I think they need to, figure out a way to work with what we have, especially right now. Like I said, timing is everything.
In Madison County, District 3 voters will choose a new representative to the County Commission. 3 candidates are running in a special election to fill the remainder of Teresa Bettis' term. Melanie Dove is a local business owner in Hull. She hopes to implement commercial zoning along Highways 29 and 72 to differentiate between commercial business growth and property. Marilyn Walton currently serves as the Hull County Council as the mayor pro tem. If elected, she hopes to find other sources of revenue to pay for the high property taxes in the county. Frank May is a special education teacher at Hull Sanford Elementary School. And Madison County distributed 76 absentee ballots, and 622 people have voted early for the municipal elections. Next, Grady Newsource's Davis Baker tells us about a partisan disagreement on the upcoming sales tax vote in Athens-Clarke County.
The only issue on most voters' ballots in Athens-Clarke County will be a yes or no vote on the E-Splost tax. The Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax is a 1% sales tax increase that goes towards funding school projects. Approximately 60% of sales tax ends up being paid by visitors and non-residents of Athens-Clarke County. The school district says they need the money for school renovations and technology upgrades. However, the Athens-Clarke County Democrats and the Clarke County Republicans disagree on the vote. The Athens-Clarke County Democrats said in a statement to Grady Newsource that they have endorsed a yes vote. Jason Pratt, the Vice Communications Chair for the ACC Democrats and middle school teacher at Hillsman Middle School, says in an email that the new Hillsman Middle School building funded by East Blost is spacious, visually appealing, and equipped with the infrastructure needed for students to get the quality education they each deserve. But in a Facebook post, Clarke County Republicans say to vote no to the referendum, citing the lack of transparency within Athens-Clarke County policies and procedures. Clarke County voters have voted yes to East Blost 5 times since 1997, with the vote being renewed every 5 years. If approved, it's estimated to raise $120 million over the 5-year span. If the East Blost vote is not approved, the district says the Clarke Middle School project would likely have to pause, and technology upgrades would be affected as well. Reporting for Grady Newsource, Davis Baker.
Up next, Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Ware shows us how the University of Georgia is prioritizing international education this month.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind, but I need not see.
I think you're really gonna like it.
I know this road is there for me. There is a love waiting for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
I got this. Take me down to the river
Nice.
and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you. Get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
The University of Georgia is looking at ways to enhance its campus security in various ways. Tyler Johnson looks into the changes.
$8.5 million will be used to improve the University of Georgia's campus safety with additional lighting, security cameras, police personnel, and a nightlife rideshare program for students. Third-year student Taylor Jones has not faced any crime, but she still thinks the initiative is important.
The school kind of backs that and supports our safety as far as implementing more security. I don't see that as being a bad thing in any way. I mean, I've heard the stories that have happened downtown, but nothing close to me specifically in any kind of crimes, violent or otherwise.
UGA's President Jerry Moorhead stated, "As the president of the University of Georgia, I have no higher priority than the health and safety of our campus community. Students, faculty, staff, and the many alumni and other visitors who come here each year for programs and events." The funds will be distributed in multiple ways. $3 million yearly for transportation services, including a rideshare program, $1.5 million yearly for 10 new university officers and civilian support staff for the next 3 years. $3 million will be used for the campus enhancements, including new security cameras and new lighting as well. And UGA is also contributing to the Athens-Clarke County Unified Government to help improve the downtown district's lighting and security cameras with an additional $250,000. Jones is excited for better lighting, but she is most hopeful for the rideshare program.
A more secure rideshare program is probably a really good idea.
Tyler Johnson, Grady Newsource.
The UN Climate Change Conference began in Glasgow, Scotland yesterday. Grady Newsource reporter Kayla Robertson has more on the climate change solutions being proposed at the conference.
Yesterday was the beginning of the UN Climate Conference, where over 120 world leaders are meeting to discuss solutions to climate change. Some of the proposed solutions are to secure global net zero emissions by 2050. In order to do this, the conference is suggesting ending the use of coal, curbing deforestation, and speeding up the transition to electric vehicles, also by encouraging private investment in renewable energy. Another solution is to protect communities and natural habitats by restoring ecosystems that are lost or in danger of destruction by climate change. The conference is also urging developed countries to live up to their promise to invest at least $100 billion per year by 2020 in climate finance by encouraging public and private sector investing in climate change initiatives. Finally, the conference is hoping to make progress in the finalization of the rules set out in the Paris Agreement. I'll be back after the break for your Newsource weather update.
And now, the weather.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, the weather.
It's November 1st, and we are going to feel some fall temperatures with a chilly start to the day this morning, but temperatures will rise back to a high of 70 and then back down to about 46 this afternoon. Tomorrow, you can expect sunshine with a high of 71 and a cool evening with a low of around 48 degrees. But Wednesday, we will start to see cooler weather. It's going to be overcast with a high of just 59 degrees and a low of 46, with rain showers coming late Wednesday night about after 9 o'clock. And on Thursday, grab your umbrellas because we will be seeing showers all day with a high of 53 and a low of around 43. The rain is going to continue into Friday morning and possibly into the evening with a high of 56 and a low of 37. The sun will come back on Saturday, but it's going to be chilly with a high of 57 and a low of 35 later in the evening. So if you're planning on watching the Dogs take on Missouri at Sanford Stadium this weekend, make sure to bundle up.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Regardless of where you are on your path to retirement, you can still take charge of your financial future today. Visit aceyourretirement.org and answer a few questions from Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach, for free tips, resources, and advice customized for your situation to help you feel confident and prepared for retirement. Retirement looks different for everyone. Make sure you're prepared for your financial future at aceyourretirement.org.
And now, sports.
I'm Megan Middlehammer with your Grady Newsource Sports. The #1 Georgia Bulldogs remain undefeated this season after beating the Florida Gators in Jacksonville on Saturday with a score of 34-7. The Bulldogs found a surge of momentum in the second quarter, scoring 24 points before halftime. Head coach Kirby Smart commended Stetson Bennett's performance. Before the game, it was unclear if Bennett or JT Daniels would start at quarterback.
Ultimately, the reason was continuity. Stetson's done a good job. Probably the next biggest thing was that JT had not really been in practice as much as Stetson going back to last week. So we went with a guy that's been practicing the most.
The Georgia women's soccer team played their first and final game in the SEC tournament on Sunday. The Bulldogs lost in penalty kicks to LSU. Graduate student Molly Belisle was named SEC Forward of the Year before the match. And the men's and women's tennis teams travel to San Diego to compete in the ITA National Fall Championship. And in other sports news, the Atlanta Braves lost to the Houston Astros in Game 5 of the World Series in Atlanta last night. The Braves will travel back to Houston for Game 6 on Tuesday. I'm Megan Middlehammer, and this has been your Grady Newsource Sports.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Today is the first day of No Shave November, marking the start of No Shave November. Grady Newsource reporter Nikki Schatz tells us why this means more than just growing out your facial hair.
Today marks the beginning of No Shave November, a month-long event where men grow out their facial hair to raise awareness for men's health. Many men avoid going to the doctor in general. In fact, a survey shows that 72% of men would rather do household chores than take a visit to the doctor. Dr. Gabriella Drake-Forte explains what men can do to stay on top of their health.
It would be a good idea if they were feeling really stressed about life, finances, any of those kind of stressors, that they would, seek professional help the way women do.
Throughout the month, men are encouraged to skip their trip to the barber shop and donate the money they would spend on a facial trimming or haircut to educate themselves about cancer prevention and aid those fighting the battle.
I think it's important for men while they're young to take advantage of going to the doctor and taking care of their health while they're young, because it has lasting impacts in the future.
For those of you wanting to sit down the razor and officially participate in No Shave November, you can set up a fundraising page at no-shave.org/register/. For Grady Newsource, I'm Nikki Schatz.
Thank you for watching Grady Newsource. I'm Allison Casso, and have a great evening.
She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Cats and dogs and stuff.
I believe we are sort of live on air for our post-show critique. Today it's going to be a very special show critique. We have a guest, actually someone who's been through this program just like the rest of you, the news director of WMAZ for the last 6 years, who's a Grady grad. She came here, she still remembers sitting behind those desks here. And Laura, if you want to join us here so that our viewers can see you, we're very lucky to have her, very, very proud to have a Grady grad. So she watched our show, and she is going to do a post-show critique. But first, Laura told me she wants to hear from Riley, who was our broadcast producer. And as I told you, Laura, I'm asking our producers to tell us 3 things that they learned today and 3 things that they would like to do better moving forward to grow. So we'll start with you, darling, and then we will continue with the critique.
Hey, I just wanted to say everybody did a really great job. Very proud of you guys, so claps. Yay. So 3 things that I learned today. Okay, I underestimated how much writing a producer has to do. And I remember, or I learned now, that my writing skills still need to be like way up to par being a producer. I'd say the second thing I learned today is how assertive you have to be with your rundown. You have to be very, very decisive when it comes to what you want to put in your show and how you want to stack your show. And so that was really interesting to figure out. And the third thing I learned today is how early I should have planned out, or earlier I should have planned out my rundown and how I wanted my show to go. However, everybody did a really great job communicating with me and helping me out throughout the whole day. And so, again, thank you guys for that. What did I talk? 3 things that I should do better, or like? So, yes. Yes.
The 3 things, that you would like to do differently moving forward.
3 things I would like to do differently. I would say, even though we were slightly over, I want to have a lot more content when it comes to producing, because like she said, it's better to have more content than to have not enough or lack thereof. So I would definitely say that just having more ideas of things that people could do, and having variations of content instead of just straight packages the entire time. I think that would be something I would definitely like to do better on. That's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
It's been a rough day. I'll give you a break. You owe me 2 things you can do different. Thank you, Riley. Thank you. And I'm sorry I had my back to you, Laura. So we are really thrilled and honored to have you with us here. And we look forward to hearing from you, a person from the industry who can tell us, you're looking at it from the point of view of what you need when you hire people. What do you look? And so we are eager to find out what we did okay and what we can do differently, so that by the end of, we just have the end of this month, we can tweak a few things we need to, so that everybody's ready for the marketplace. So it's over to you. Tell us first about your inspiring story.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Like I was saying to some of you at the beginning of the class, my name's Laura Lynch Jones. I'm from WMAZ in Macon, and I sat in all you guys' seats and did this whole program, and it looked the exact same when I graduated in 2003, not to show my age, but it hasn't changed very much. But it really is for those of you who want to get into any kind of media or television or production. It's really a wonderful experience. A lot of my friends, we all went through it together. We did it in our senior years back then. I'm not sure if you guys are all seniors or not, but we all look back on this and still laugh at the things that we did in Newsource, and hopefully how far we've come. But it's a wonderful experience that will really prepare you well for jobs should you choose to go into this. And if you're going into something else, or graduate or law school, I think that this whole experience really teaches you the hands-on demands of any kind of job and what it's like to work on a team. So you guys did a great job today. I hope that you guys were a little bit rested after Georgia-Florida this weekend. Of course, I'm still a huge Georgia fan, so go Dogs. But just looking at the newscast, Riley, I thought you did a great job of stacking the show. And you're right, those writing skills that you guys are learning through producing and through MMJing, and that'll translate well into anything. Producing is a ton of writing, and you never stop learning as a writer. You'll do it your whole career and continue to get better and better. I like what you guys did off the top with the Q&A. Was it you that did the Q&A? Okay. The back and forth. I thought that was a really good idea. And I don't know if there's somebody in here specifically that's doing graphics, but I thought a lot of y'all's graphics looked really sharp in the way that you presented them, particularly on the screen where you had the person that you did the phoner with, and then having the text to go along with it. That's really important, especially over the past year of having to do the Zoom interviews and phone interviews, to be able to see those words on the screen. So I thought that looked really professional as far as how y'all presented that. Overall, I just want to encourage you guys to look for the emotion in everything. Just remember about, watch TV or why something pulls you into a video. So really to look for the characters in your stories. It's not about, the official, the guy sitting behind the desk talking about what's happening, or the politician. It's about the people in those stories. So Sam, I know you had like the guy with Gypsy the dog, I mean, that's what I remember. Those things that you would remember. You'll remember a person. You'll remember a personality. You'll remember humor. You'll remember emotion. You won't remember the facts, and the details always matter, but what's going to make you watch it on the TV screen versus watching it, just reading it on a website, is to look for those nuggets and to really pull those out in your stories. So, sorry, this mask driving me a little crazy. But if you think about starting your stories with a character and telling it around a person, and then putting, more of the information, maybe the bite from the official guy in the middle, because I'm going to remember guy with Gypsy. That when you're telling that that story. And the same goes for like your weathercast or the Megan's sports, the sportscast. It's about emotion, and it's okay to connect with that content. So when you're doing the weather, it's not just about the numbers that are up on the screen. I can get that from my app, right? But you can tell me, so when you're going to the Georgia game this weekend, you're going to want to wear a sweater. You're going to want to wear, tell me those things that I can't get from my app. If I'm going to have a cookout tonight, do I wear my shorts? Do I need to, bring my hoodie? What do I need to bring? So just making that connection with those things. And with sports is all about emotion. It is nothing but emotion. You're going to find all of your passion. So when you're doing a sports cast, to connect with that too. I mean, so talk to people. Bad luck Braves fans, didn't work out for you last night. So saying it as conversationally and as casually as that, because you guys are talking to a local audience. Chances are there's not a lot of Astros fans watching this show, right? Okay, maybe you, but the majority, think about the audience that you're speaking to. You always want to have that in mind. Or when you were talking about the Georgia game this weekend and why JT didn't start, you can say, hey, you're probably wondering the same thing I'm wondering. Why didn't JT start the football game this weekend? And then it's all of this, or when's he going to get in? Or, so just being a little bit more, upfront with all of that with weather too. But it's fun. Have fun with it, and don't ever forget that in the newscast that you're doing. And like she was saying, try everything. I know that you guys are probably zeroing in on positions that you like and things that you want to do more, whether you enjoy the producing more or enjoy digital, but just having the ability to do everything is really great for you guys, and will point you more in the direction of, what it is that you ultimately want to do. So I'd love to answer y'all's questions instead of me just up here yapping, but if you don't have any right now, then, feel free to come up to you tomorrow. And then myself and two of my colleagues from Tegna will be here tomorrow. So please come by and talk to us. I know that, everybody can't talk to all three of us, but if there's, I'd love to meet you all. I wish we had time to meet everybody. So, but thank you all very much for having me.
Laura, if you have a few more minutes, usually I also give the floor to our digital producer. It'll be interesting if you can talk to us about how you integrate. We're looking to integrate digital and with broadcast, actually to kind of complement each other, repurpose content from the broadcast for digital. And so it'll be interesting if you want, we can hear from the digital producer, and then if you have some thoughts, I don't want to put you on the spot. I know you were not prepared to do digital, but just give us your philosophy as a news director. How are you integrating? We're looking for new ideas, how to make that happen. And it will be nice to get your point of view. Digital producer? Yes, darling. I was looking for you. So you're 3-3.
Okay.
Three things
Yes.
you learned today, 3 things you want to do differently.
Right. I think today was a lot about innovation and creativity, given the fact that we were covering the elections, climate change, and No Shave November. Those were very different things. So I got to see which platforms would work best for each of them. And I think one thing I could do better is having my MMJs do something more of a humane story. That is what I was struggling with, and drawing the attention of the social users, I guess that's what of our audience, because you can give them information, but again, what's going to attract them is a story. So I'm excited for Nikki's No Shave November. I think that will definitely grab the attention of our users and audience members. So yeah, I think what I could do better is working with my MMJ, seeing how I can make things more humane. And another thing I did good was being innovative and creative, and honestly, did not come from me, it came from my MMJs and my news gatherers being like, hey, this is how I could do this story, and this is how I could be working with each platform. So very grateful to have their creativity and innovation.
So Laura, what is your wisdom? You didn't see what we put out, but in general, I think we can learn from you, your general philosophy as a news director who is trying to have the two kind of work together. What are your 3 and 3? What is your best advice?
Well, I know that you guys kind of come in here and not on a daily basis, but the way that we staff our newsroom is that we have a digital producer that comes in really early in the morning at at 5 a.m. Have a plan for what's going to go out at that next morning, so that for instance, we have a story airing right now. It's a series that's airing right now. Our morning anchor he's a ton of fun. He's like positive influence on everyone, and his name is Wanye. So we're now doing a series called Put the Yay in Your Day. So what he's doing is he's going out to people in the community and highlighting them for the great work that they're doing or the positive influence that they have on other people's lives. So someone nominated a UPS driver in Cochran, Georgia, which I don't know if any of you guys are from Middle Georgia, Central Georgia, but so he's doing the live shots out there, and then what we're doing is we're asking for people to send us pic photos of the people that put yay in their day, and then we're taking those photos and using those to highlight more people, not just the one that we're interviewing. So that's kind of pushing back and forth to social, you know, in the newscast. So we just take them and we rip them and we throw them up there, and with, oh, my earring just popped out. Oh dear, getting too excited. So we drive back and forth. And then what we'll do is we'll take that story and we'll push it out after it airs so it drives more traffic to that video that's going to be on. So everything kind of has a work ahead plan. So digital has a plan just like producing. And then so for stories that reporters are working on during the day, it can depend. Is it an enterprise story like, you know, No Shave November, or is it, you know, an election related story? So for an election-related story, we might prepare an election guide with all this stuff that you guys have, that you kind of highlighted, and we have that all prepared and written out so that we can just push people to that. Every time we talk about elections, we say, text a number to us, and then we send a guide directly to their phone. So as they can explore more about these election issues that maybe they didn't catch all of Sam's story about it, so that everything has a component to kind of go back and forth. If it's a breaking news story, say there had been a homicide or a car crash or whatever today, then our digital team, video is the most important. You guys will find that anything you do, whether you go to PR, marketing, public relations, video is really king right now. So getting that video back, whether it's cell phone video or sent through the app or however you send it, getting that into a story, and then you know, a sense of urgency, getting that out online, and then driving people to the newscast and then back for more to whatever is going to be online. So it really kind of all works hand in hand, and different stories have different processes, right? So something that's longer form, you know, somebody might spend a long time preparing with all kinds of different elements, maybe a visual element, maybe an audio element, you know, photo galleries. So just, you know, different workflows go into each piece. And then how do we get that out on social as well? Because that's where people can share it, you know, and talk about it. And then maybe if people are sharing your stories, maybe you take some of those comments and you feature them on TV. So-and-so is saying, and that's how you bring viewers into the discussion so that they can be a part of what you're doing. And then sometimes, like when we talk about misinformation or disinformation, somebody will ask a question. And then you can turn that into a piece of content. So maybe you have a producer in the newscast saying, hey, such and such viewer asked us this question. And maybe it's based on good information or bad information, but you can tell people up front what your sources were to answer that question. And then give them the answer so that they're learning something. And then people start to realize, hey, if I ask them a question, then I'm going to be able to get an answer. And it's going to be credible, and I know that they got it from credible sources. So, and then that feeds your newscast too, and it's not, you don't have to like run all over the earth doing stuff just to interact with viewers. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So guys, this is an incredible opportunity. Ask some questions. You have Laura here.
And I found my earring.
And she found her earring. Sam has.
I'd love to kind of hear, and I think everyone would, about what it was like going from Grady Newsource kind of into the industry, since that's a transition that all of us are approaching. Kind of what was that like, and I guess how similar was it?
Yes, I mean, I did it myself, but then I also, in our newsroom, we hire a lot of people that are coming out of, you know, Grady or other programs. I see other people go through it all the time. It's just, so you guys are doing it 2 days a week right now, right? So all of a sudden you're doing it 5. And that is, it's just a much different pace. And it takes people a while to get used to that pace of doing it, because maybe you guys are pitching an idea 2 days a week, and you probably feel stressed coming up with a pitch 2 days a week. So, then you're doing it 5 days a week, and you're in a new community, a place that you don't know as well, so you don't have as many contacts or a knowledge base. So, the first 6 months of being particularly a reporter, but a producer, you're really learning all about a community, and it's a totally new experience. So I always tell people when they come to our newsroom, like the first 6 months, it's like this is the learning curve. It's pretty much straight up. But if you can make it through that first 6 months, it kind of levels out. And then you really start to hit your stride of like, okay, I got this, I can do this. And then you really start to, be able to bring out your personality, to connect more with the content, to feel more comfortable what you're doing, to know that you come in and you can have a pitch and feel confident about yourself. It's just like, learning a bicycle. You're wobbly at first, but then once you hit that stride, you do really well. I mean, I've seen people, Ashlyn Webb is a great grad in our newsroom. She interned with us, and then she was a MSA reporter with us, and then now is our weekend anchor. So I've always seen Grady grads be very what they do, but it's just hard, like going into any new job or new field, and learning to be adulting. Is that still a thing, like adulting for the first time? So it's just a lot. But I think what's important is that as you start, that you're in an environment where there's going to be teaching and coaching, and that people do understand what you're going through, and that they're going to give you feedback. Be open to that. It is hard work. You have to be committed to wanting to do it, and just realizing that it's gonna take time to put all the skills together. But if you're constantly getting training and coaching and giving it your all every day, you'll get there. But this program will fully prepare you to do it. If you have the will and the drive and are in the right place to be supported, you'll do great.
Ashlyn Webb was when I first came here 2 years ago, she was one of my students, and I'm so happy. And so in 2 years, she's weekend anchor. Yeah. So.
You mentioned that when you transition, you're new to a different community. Right now, for us to get to know our assigned counties, we join like Facebook groups and just try and see what's going on around in that county. Do you have any other suggestions on how to get to know that community?
So if you're assigned to a particular place, and I always tell reporters, because we have a lot of reporters move to our community from places that are nowhere close to Central Georgia. I mean, Detroit, San Diego, they come from all over the place. And the temptation is sometimes to only hang out with people that are like you, that are in your newsroom, that have the same and similar experiences. But because that's the easy thing to do, right? And then to get together and to talk about how you didn't meet your deadline and gripe about the news director and like all that kind of stuff, right? But I really encourage people to go out and spend time in those communities. So is there a festival that weekend that you can go out, that you can meet people? Can you go eat at a restaurant there? And just talk to people, talk to the waiter. It's all about being curious and asking questions. Just go take a walk, in that area to try to get to know people. One thing that is really helpful to our reporters is that we have a lot of people start in our market and then they go to bigger stations. Well, so there's a lot of people coming in and out all the time. And I don't know if you guys have this, but we have a database of contacts so that that you're kind of passing those on from the next reporter to the next, so that everybody still maintains those contacts. And you've really got to put in the effort up front. It's like I said, that first 6 months, you've got to call people on a regular basis, almost like it's your job. Call 5 people this day, 5 people this day, and I'm going to learn the secretary's name. I'm going to ask her how her dog is doing, and I'm going to treat people like people. If you have a conversation with them, remember that last time they talked about how their grandmother was sick and ask them about that. I mean, take notes for yourself. So it's just like a friend. You have to nurture the relationship. You have to spend time there. You can't just expect to show up when the homicide happens and have people, you know, want to talk to you. You've got to invest in the communities that you're trying to cover. And I know that you guys have short semesters and not a lot of time to do it, but it's really about when you do get to that first job, get out there. If you get a beat assignment, go after it. Spend the time. It will make your life so much easier 3 months down the road if you just really get after it when you get there, and then you'll just kind of see dividends. If you don't invest at first, your pace of learning and growing and having great stories is going to be a lot slower. So,
Ballard.
So you kind of just touched on it, but I was just curious, like, what was one specific thing that you focused on those first 6 months in the newsroom? Like one specific thing to kind of help you, like, get familiar, get comfortable.
Okay, I don't remember because it's been too long ago and there's too much water under the bridge since then. But one thing that I tell, our reporters to focus on as far as building a beat, is that what you mean? Okay, so that kind of got us started. You know, one thing that a lot of stations that will do, and this is not during these times, but, you know, going out and having a day where you can go in to say that you guys are say you're from Ella J. Your beat is Ella J. She's from Ella J. So you're going to go and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to make an agenda for myself, and I'm going to hit all of these places in one day. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to go meet the mayor, and then I'm going to tell the police chief I'm coming, and I'm going to talk to everybody in that office, and I'll spend a whole day meeting those people, giving them their numbers. Your news director or your manager would likely support something like that, and then maybe they'll give you a little budget to take somebody to lunch that day so that you can start to develop story ideas, and then have a goal for yourself. Okay, when I come back from my meet and greet day, I'm going to have 5 really solid story ideas. And then I'm going to look at those story ideas and I'm going to go, okay, well, what would I need to actually turn a story from this? So I have the idea. Do I need some supporting data? Do I need to fact check this? What do I need? Do I need a character? Do I need an official source? Do I need a stand-up? What's my B-roll going to be? So you kind of go through all those things in your head and kind of make a list for yourself. Okay, that's one story idea. Or, hey, I have this idea and I'm not sure what to do with it. Go talk to your manager or producer or, you know, somebody who's been in the newsroom longer and say, okay, I've got these things, you know, do you think this is a story? And then these are the elements I have, but I feel like I'm missing something. How could we put this together? So, you know, and then you've got 5 story ideas, and then you can just work off of those and pick off of them. And eventually what you want to do is have a whole list of a story file where you've got all kinds of different things, and you divide them up into a file and say, okay, these are the elements I have for this one, and these are the elements I have for this one. And then if you're collecting those, it's eventually going to get to a point where you come into a week and you've got 5 stories planned with not a lot of effort, right? So it builds upon itself. But that's the reason you have to do the upfront investment to get there. And then what the best part is, when you get to that thing of when you come in the door and you've got 5 stories planned for the week, 2 of them are going to fall through, and you're going to get put on something else, some breaking news or something, and then you're going to be able to roll a couple of those story ideas over to the next week. So, you know, that's a good thing when somebody says, hey, you know, we need you to go to X, Y, or Z to do that, because you can just shelve that other story idea. Save your contacts, save your contacts, save your contacts. You never know when you're going to need the guy walking his dog in a community to be a character, or maybe he knows something that's happening on his street. Make sure everybody has your phone number, and then just work those relationships. So reaching out to people, checking back in with them.
Wonderful advice. Guys, I think deserves a hand, and best of luck, and thank you for hiring our grads and for making us so proud from this program. And so, guys, Ballard, you've got the post-election show start thinking people, start thinking